Hey there, fellow YouTubers, horror maniacs, movie lovers. This is my entry into darkargentofans contest. A very late entry. I hope I hope it's in time. I hope it's not too late. Yeah, there's been loads of stuff going on. So I mean, I had like a crappy week, a couple of crappy weeks to be honest. But yeah. Yeah, enough about that. I won't talk about it. But this is my contest entry for the contest. You were asking for like a movie that stood out. Doesn't have to be your favorite, but something. There was something about the movie that stood out. Yeah, something that stood out. Something special that made us remember it. Yeah. Yeah, check darkargentos fans YouTube page out. She's a really sweet person. She does good videos. She has great taste in horror movies and whatever similar things. And she goes to yeah, those horror shows and all of that stuff, cool stuff that I can't go to over in the States, but someday maybe. But she has cool channels, so check her out. So show her some support, subscribe. Yeah, but now onwards. My picks, some movies that stood out. I unfortunately, or not unfortunately, I picked two because I cannot only pick one, and I mean there are many movies that stood out to me when I grew up, like everything from covers to something unique, especially in the movie. Many came to mind, and actually, you know what? I just saw that I need to throw in a third one here. Yeah, I just saw it right here. But first of all, many of these are my picks because of different reasons, so they stood out in different ways. First of all, one of the movies that stood out most is From Beyond the Grave with Peter Cushing and many others. Great movie. One of the best anthology horror movies there is. One of the first I saw, really. This is a really good one. This stood out to me just because, yeah, it's so awesome and good, and the thing that makes me remember it, the thing that stood out is one of the segments in this anthology movie that's about a door. About a door that they buy from an antique store. Everything in this movie revolves around this antique store that is run by Peter Cushing. And all of the objects are apparently cursed, or they become cursed. I don't know, but you know, almost everyone that buys something there, they are really bad people, or they are dishonest and things like that. This is the last story. They buy this door, and they put this door on a closet, and whenever I don't remember everything, but at a certain time there becomes another room behind that door, so it becomes like a doorway to another dimension, or a room trapped in time, and yeah, it's really cool. And in there is like a it's hard to explain. But I always just remember that door and everything about it, just that room, and there's an ancient old I don't know what, evil violent man that's lived for a long time, and he needs immortality. To get immortality he needs more victims, and yeah, and things like that. But it's a great story. I won't talk anymore about it, but that's the story that stood out to me. That's why this movie stood out to me. So yeah, I hope I'm not, I hope I didn't misunderstand you when you told us to take movies that stood out, because yeah, but hopefully this will do. And this movie, just pure and simple, this stood out to me just because of the cover. I always remember this cover. This was one of the first horror movies we had in our collection. This is a really early release in the 80s, like when VHS was new, and yeah, this was one of the first horror movies in my family's collection. So, but this cover has always like spoken to me and been in my mind. I always think of this, and not always, but I remember this cover because it's been there so long. I mean, and I love this cover. It's an awesome cover. So yeah, that's why, only because of the cover. And this is another one that stood out, but for many reasons. First of all, the cover. But first of all, when I saw this movie, I didn't even see the cover. I didn't even know that the cover looked like this. I learned that much later because I was a young kid. I was at home at one of my cousin's place, and we were a couple of other kids there. And one of the older kids, he was watching this movie. He told us not to watch, but I defied him. I stayed and watched, and because I liked what I saw. But it was really cool. And I really remember what stood out to me with this movie is pure and simple, just the zombies, just the idea of the zombies and everything. I mean, from that day I fell in love with Nazi zombies. I don't know when this was. It was somewhere in the midst of the 80s. It was, but I fell in love with zombies, Nazi zombies. They were so cool, and the way they looked, the glasses was one thing that I remember. And when they like tore out the glasses from their faces, they got the sunlight in their eyes or anything, and they fell together and they couldn't see, and they were sensitive to light, it seemed like. And I always liked this movie. That's what stood out to me, because I remember seeing that when I was a little kid and watching these. I didn't watch it from the start. I watched it like a little bit in, when they started to appear, when they rose from the water and such. It was so fucking cool, very awesome. But well, that's enough of that. This is my entry, and yeah, I hope it will do. I hope it's not too late, and everybody head on over to subscribe, because otherwise I will be really disappointed on you. Go check out her channel, give her some support, and yeah. Well, that's it for me, and now I need to take it easy, drink a cup of tea, and play some Skyrim. Bye.